Alistair Scott.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I rise in support and take a brief call, but I'd just like to address the previous Green Party Speaker vis-a-vis her question of who on this side rents a place. Up until the last few months ago, I was renting a place in Wellington. It's not such a bad thing. There are advantages in renting. You don't have to front up with a capital. You don't have to replace the fridge or the freezer when it breaks down. When the roof leaks, the landlord comes in. There's a lot of advantages in renting, Mr Speaker. And there is no shame in renting, Mr Speaker. And it is part of the marketplace and the reality that we live in today, Mr Speaker. I'd like to also address a comment from Mr Twyford when he was suggesting, I'll ask the question to Mr Twyford, how much has a foreign investor made in the last 12 months when he's purchased a house in Auckland? How much has a foreign buyer made? The answer is zero. The answer is zero. Simply because Mr Twyford has forgotten to consider the effect of the foreign exchange rate, sir. The value of the Kiwi dollar has dropped approximately 25% and negated any gains that a foreign investor has in, whether it be in the New Zealand housing market or whether it be in the New Zealand share market. Because that is, of course, another class of asset which I'm not sure whether Mr Twyford's willing to ban, whether he's willing to ban foreign investors in our share market, in our bond market, or just our housing market, or whether it's our buildings or our farmland or any industry that might relate to his bill. It seems odd that he would only want to ban one class of asset. But getting back to the bill, Mr Speaker, this is an excellent bill. It is relating to, it's a 2-year limit. It could have been 1 year, could have been 3 years, it happens to be 2 years. There is an exemption for the family home, which with the greatest connection. Some of these guys on the other side have a problem with that. It's very simple. And Mr Speaker, there are exemptions around whether one is divorced or inherited the property, which is obviously sensible. This bill is based on logic, sensible legislation. It's not based on whether a person's name is of Chinese descent. It's not based on whether the money comes in from offshore or not. It relates specifically to the trader who is wanting to speculate in the housing market in New Zealand. And on that basis, sir, I commend it to the House.
Stuart Nash.